Hey family, you're tuning in to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio. Pardon any technical difficulties as we're recording live on the Zoom platform. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah. Jimmy. Lights, camera, action. Some people thought I quit and I ain't giving satisfaction. From a different era, writing rhymes up on napkins. What you had to say was more important, man, than trapping. Yeah, I'm talking back to speaking of contemporary. What's good, family, and welcome to another episode of Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. This episode is sponsored by Major Flavor Catering. I'm your host, Jimmy Bonds. I'm here with my co-host, my man T. Wow. What's good, Ty? How you feeling?
Live from the 215, JB.
Live from the 215. That's right, brother. And you know I can't forget my other co-host, the lovely Miss T with the T. What's up, Tiana? How you doing, mama?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. How about you?
I'm doing great. Remember, family, you can call us with your comments or questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. Now, family, on today's episode, we are discussing a topic that, of course, I always find interesting and I always thought we need to discuss. And today's episode, family, is the family you were born in versus the one you create. And for easier terms, what I'm going to do is really use some acronyms so that it's not a lot of language involved. So we're going to go with FOO, which is family of origin, and FBC, which is family by choice. So FOO is family of origin, and FBC is family by choice, which makes it much easier to define and kind of wrap your mind around it. You can just use these acronyms. In this segment, family, we're going to talk about FOO, family of origin. And I thought it was good we talk about that one because that's where we all start. We all start with family of origin. We don't start anywhere else. What I wanted to do was actually first, before I go into my, my soliloquy, my long diatribe about how I feel about things, I wanted to get the team in and find out how they felt about just, family of origin, what it means to them. What does family of origin mean for them? So Ty, what's up, man? Talk to me about what you think about what the family of origin, what's your definition of family of origin?
Personally, I would say it should be respect, loyalty, and trust. But again, sometimes families are the one that do you in,
Listen, and that's why I thought it would be good to kind of talk about this subject. It's, it's not touchy, but I think it's one of them subjects that you don't really need to go do research for. I think we all have experience-based knowledge. You know what I'm saying? we all can kind of we didn't have to go dig in the books for this one. We can really talk about our experiences. Right. You know what I'm saying? Good and bad. So T, what'd you feel about family of origin?
Same way. We're born into it. You gotta kind of deal with it. But you don't have to stress over it either. You don't have to stress over certain stuff. Just because we're related doesn't mean I got to stress what you're stressing over.
That's, a whole part of this conversation. Your family of origin, you don't get to choose your family. You don't get to choose your dad. You don't get to choose your mom. You don't choose your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, et cetera, et cetera. You don't choose none of these people in your life. Because we don't have a choice in the matter, a lot of times we are indoctrinated into the family's, ideals, the family's morals, the
way
family's
of living,
beliefs, the family way of belief, all of that. What we're born into is our foundation, to be honest with you. It's the beginning moments. A lot of times, there's this notion, this slogan of family is everything. Family is all you have. Family is all you got in the end. I believe that slogan or that phrase, but only in certain circumstances. And they never, that slogan or phrase doesn't tell you who your family is. You know what I mean? They just say family, quote unquote. They don't say, family you create or family you're born in. They just say family. When I think about that in terms of my family of origin, when people say family is all you create, I just be like, I don't know about that, man. Because based on some of my experiences, the family of origin is whoa, you know what I mean? It's some deep stuff right there, man. I mean, even down to the biblical terms of, my mama would tell me about Joseph, how his family did him, leaving him for dead, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You just think about that, and you just say to yourself, family is all we have, and family is all we got, and that's the slogan and everything. It's particularly when they talk about your family of origin, you just be like, well, it's not true. It's definitely not true. That family of origin thing, where you come from, there are, and don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. There are exceptions to the rule, and not every family is the same. You know, what I'm trying to really do is open the conversation to get people to realize that there are different circumstances in families. Not everybody's growing up, not everybody's birth of origin or place of origin was as peaches and creams as everybody else's. You know, because people, there's some things about family that people just be like, well, that's your family. They're supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like this, some things are just a given. You know, they just expect you to do those kind of things. And, you know, I can tell you in my life, you know, the things that are given for regular people are, you know, for real, I can tell you, take it for granted. They're really taken for granted. I'll give you an example. There are times when you have people in your family with certain titles, and you expect them to be certain places at certain times for certain events. When they're not there, or they don't show up for them, do you still consider them family? Do you still consider them people that...
You talking about your cousin Kevin, man.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about your cousin Kevin like that, man?
Listen, yo, because cousin Kevin, you get his act together. That's why. You know what I mean? Listen, cousin Kevin, and I tell you what, this is what we gonna do. For all the family members that we have to talk about this podcast, we're gonna refer to them as cousin Kevin, okay? Cousin Kev needs to get his act together. I need to get her act together, cousin Kev. So listen, I'm just trying to. We gotta put some lightness on this because you know we can get deep. You can get deep, you can get emotional about this issue. You know, I'm sure people listening like, yo, I can't stand my family. My family is the worst. So, you know, I wanna talk about these things. You know what I mean? I want to make sure people understand, like, yes, family is all we have, but it's not really all we have. You know what I mean? It's so much more to it. You know, how you feel about that, T? Everything I was saying, how you feel?
I mean, I agree with you. It's not all that we have. It's like you said, we're born into it. So to me, you just got to make the best. Like, if that one person, if cousin Kevin acting all crazy, just don't deal with cousin Kevin like that. Like you deal with cousin, let's see, Kevin, you said Kendra. With cousin Kendra.
Yeah, cousin Kendra. Yeah,
just
exactly.
back off. You don't have to be in their face. You just deal accordingly.
No doubt. No doubt. Ty, what you feel about that, Ty, everything I was saying?
One of the things I was thinking about was, it's crazy, although we're born into the family, but at the same time that we're born into this family, it's a family that's being created, like another family.
Yeah.
You know, what you think about it, because you come from a mother's birth is, but the man comes into the family. Well, not even that. I mean, a man and woman comes together and creates a family. And it's like a continuous cycle of life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about, well, the family that I'm born into was actually the family that came together and created a family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
I think we try to hold on to values. It's crazy because, you know, you'll try to hold on to some values that your mother has passed on along from her mother or her grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And on the father's side, you know, he's passing on things that he got from, you know, his mother or father, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so as children, we get the combination of both. And when we get older, we're taking those two things and creating our own families as well, using those values and morals.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is some of us are not born into families some families are chaotic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm trying to put the right word in there.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
There's maybe no structure, or there may be a lot of problems within that family.
Yeah.
So you come into that and you're raised up in that, and it's kind of difficult. Where others, they have the mother and the father, they grow up, and everything is fine. That's not always the case, but I was thinking about that, and it's crazy because every time a child is born, another family is created.
Yo, listen.
That's deep.
I mean, no, listen, bro, you just really broke down some really, really deep, philosophical, you know, it's like Pandora's box in a way. You know what I mean? It's one box open, another box open, another box open, another box. It's that's really dope, man. I really appreciate that, bro.
He's starting already.
That. Yeah, I told you, Uncle Ty with the research. I told you, Brother Ty with the research.
No, that came from you, because I was thinking about what you've been saying. You know, we talked about it at first, and then the other day you said something too, and I'm like, well, you know, every time a child is born, that's the mother and the father coming together to create a family.
Yeah.
It's like a non-stop cycle. You know what I'm saying? When you look at a non-stop cycle.
And every
Circle of life.
Yeah, cycle of life. And every time a baby is born, you know, and it's almost like every time a baby is born, you get to reset those things. You know what I'm saying? You get to reset the whatever whatever was right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my mom used to always talk about family curses. You know what I'm saying? She used to talk about like curses over the family. And, you know, my mom was a pastor, super spiritual. You know what I mean? So her thing was more about like, you know, breaking family curses and breaking down those things that you're born into. And, you know, when I look at my mom's life, I'm like, yo, her look, my mom's family, my grandparents and my aunts and stuff, you know, God bless them. Like, you know, but my mom had a rough life in her later years. And she had a lot of stress with her family in later years. And I think that in a large aspect, like what you're saying is exactly what happened. Like when she had her kids, she was like, we're not living like that. We're not operating like the way they operate. You know, we're not believing in those orthodox manners that they're believing in. You know what I mean? Because it's really interesting because when you're born into a family, you're born into so many different things. You're born into religion. You're born into, you know, you're born into thought. You're born into wealth or not wealth. You know, health issues. These are things that you're born into. You don't have. There's no choice in the matter. You know, there's no choice in who these people are. You know, I don't have a choice about whether I get to choose who my aunt is. You know what I mean? That's just my aunt. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's like, no, you have to find a way to break those negative things in your family that you feel that you want to break. And every time a baby is born, it's another time to break those curses, another time to break those things that you don't believe in, you know, another time to break those things that you realize are not true. I can say your family of origin, where you come from, your roots, your individual roots, good and bad, they make up who you are. And at the end of the day, you got to try to figure out, you know, what do I take with me and what do I get rid of? Those ideals, those religions, those beliefs go into every relationship that you have. You know what I mean? They go into every relationship. I'm not just talking about romantic. I'm talking about work relationships, friendships, you know, just regular. They go into every single one. So you got, I mean, Ty, Ty, you really broke down some real, you know, interesting concept. I never thought about it like that, but it's so true, though. It's so true. T, how you feel about what Ty said? T, how you feel about that?
I mean, well, now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that is actually right. You think about it like that. Yeah, it's a little out there, but bring it back. But I believe in that. It makes perfect sense. And like what you said, you're deciding what you want to take to your family. What you want to teach your children for their family.
Yes.
And then your children decide what they want to take with you from, because you got to think about it. You got two sets of family in your own family. You got your mom's side, you got your dad's side.
Yeah.
Might have a little crazy, might not.
Right.
Bring them together and make the middle.
Right.
Got to meet in the middle, and then you take what you want, and then hopefully the values and the stuff that you teach your children, they'll take some of them with them, if not all. I mean, hopefully mine takes all, but they'll take some with them, or they'll just make new ones for themselves.
Yeah.
As what they collect during society standard, like everything, and put it all in one. And then there you go. Not society standard, because who cares about society? But like their own standards.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm always talking about how we got to define society standards. We got to, when I say define, I mean defy, like, you know, really go against them, because society standards is nuts. You know, they just be, some of them joints is out of control.
Well, who gave society the authorization to make those standards?
Well, that's, you know, society decided this is what they was going to do, you know.
Well, society need to go back.
And here's the thing I often find out is that people like Cousin Kev be the ones that's living up to society. They be the ones judging you based on society. You know what I'm saying? They be the ones looking at you like...
Is Cousin Kev living up, or is Cousin Kev making it seem like he's living up to society standards?
Both. I no. Rather, I think Kevin Cuz is not living up to family standards. And I think he's also perpetuating that he's living up to society standards. So I'm just saying, like, most of the time, that's what it is. When you got a Cousin Kev in your family, they're like a cancer. You got to be like, yo, we got
everybody got a Cousin Kev.
Everybody got a Cousin Kev. If you listen, everybody got a Cousin Kev. If you ain't got a Cousin Kev in your family, listen, I need to talk to you. We need to have some conversation.
Yeah.
Or just start looking at your family like, oh yeah, that's the cousin. Okay,
listen, that's the cousin, right? You know, that's the cousin. And I mean, but it's true. I mean, across the board. And you know, I say this because, you know, this family thing doesn't just go for, like, you know, us as Black people.
Yeah, no.
This thing affects everybody. You know what I mean? This thing affects everybody. I mean, from you know, my Indian brethren to my white brethren to my Latino ex-brethren to my African brethren, everybody. It affects everybody. Like, so you just gotta understand that it's not one of them things when, and I say brethren, I thought about that. I say brethren, I mean people. I don't mean just brothers. I mean people as far as family. But no, people just have to understand that we are not slaves to the family we are born in. We are not, arrested and held by lockdown by the family you're born in. And I say that because you often find times where there are things that your family does, or things your family do, that you have to be loyal to, that you're just completely against. Like, wait a minute, you did what? You supposed to defend you? What? That's crazy. But in the same time, that it really happens. We family. You supposed to defend me. Like, wait a minute. Pause. If you wrong, I'm not going to defend you.
Exactly.
That's not. I mean, that's not family. That's not what family is about. So the notion of family is all you got, or the family you're born in, like that needs to stop. Like, if my brother does something that's stupid, I'm gonna tell him that's stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm just plain and simple. I'm just telling him that's stupid. Now we might fight about it, but it is what it is. But I'm gonna tell him that's stupid. There are some things that people in your family expect and want you to really be like, well, nah, you're just supposed to accept that. Like, what? How am I supposed to? How are you supposed to expect me to accept foolishness? You know what I'm saying?
Because you're family.
Right, because you're family, exactly.
Your family.
Because you're family, you know what I mean? And they use that because you family, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You family, man. You ain't supposed to do us like that. You family, man. You family, man.
What rule is that?
Huh?
No, that's not no rule. If you did wrong, I'm gonna let you know. I might not let you know in front of other people, but I'm darn sure gonna let you know.
I'm telling you right now, there are people right now sitting listening to this podcast having this situation in their life right now, these circumstances that their family has done something stupid, or somebody in their family done something stupid, a cousin Kev, and what happened was they was like, I don't know if I can defend cousin Kev no more. Cousin Kev done gone over the line a little bit. He done kind of pushed the limits a little bit too far on this one. And believe me, like, this has happened before. Stuff you just be like, yo, that I can't agree with that. I just can't. Don't let me start getting into the real deep negative stuff that happens in families that people go along with. Okay? I don't like talking about this foolishness. I like keeping stuff real, upbeat and light. But listen, if we talking about family of origin, there's stuff that goes on in family of origin that should not be happening. And people in families keep their mouth shut on. Okay? So I need to tell y'all, like, no, stop keeping your mouth shut. Stop agreeing with foolishness. Stop agreeing with rape. Stop agreeing with incest. Stop agreeing with murder. Stop agreeing with all those things that keep us to these places that where we are. And I say it again. This isn't a race thing, family. This isn't a race thing. This is a us thing, a people thing. I just want to say that. I want to make sure I put a star on that, because I'm just being honest, man. There's so many things that go in the families that we try to just be like, yeah, I can't talk about that, or nobody want to talk about it. But everybody want to brush it under the rug like it didn't happen. And it happened, and it's there. And it's always going to be there. It's going to be the elephant in the room forever. Even at funerals, forever. For even when you sit in your casket, they're going to be at the funeral. People are going to remember this thing that's in the family. I'm telling you. Even after. You can be in your grave and people still going to remember these things that are in the family. So I'm saying it because, like, look, man, we got to change it. Your family of origin is important. I'm not saying it's not. Your family of origin is very important. We have to figure out how to make sure our family of origin, for the ones that have the complications and the challenges, because there's some families of origins that don't have these complications and challenges. There's some that are just regular, solid, loving families. And you see them and you know them.
But that's the tough part. You just said it, like, they're regular families. But that's like what I would call like a value judgment. Because what's the definition of a regular family?
What is?
A chaotic family, that might be regular for them.
Right.
Kevy Kev always getting locked up. You know what I mean? Or Kevy Kev always doing something stupid. And the family guy go bail him out, cover for him.
Listen.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Kevy Kev got like 3 baby mamas.
One on the way.
One on the way.
And
he out there like, I'm doing my thing right now. I'm working. I'm doing, But that's Kevy Kev. What's crazy about this podcast, Jimmy?
Yo, what's up, bro?
People are going to tune into this podcast and be like, who is Kevy Kev? Like, who is Kevin Kev?
So we gotta listen for the rest of the podcast. I told you, for the people that we refer to in your family that you just do not bang, that is Cousin Kev. Cousin Kev is that. I mean, Cousin Kev could be a woman or could be a man. Cousin Kev
is always into something.
Gender is not a problem. Cousin Kev does not discriminate. Cousin Kev is Cousin Kev.
Right? Exactly.
You do your best when you see Cousin Kev at a family reunion. You like, they go Cousin Kev. Let me go stand over here. You know they always got something to say. You probably drunk as I don't know what. Cousin Kev, yo, stay away from me, dog.
But Cousin Kev always finds a way, so beware.
No, listen, he always finds a way. Somehow, when the cops show up, you be like, Cousin Kev again. There you go.
Oh, that's my new hashtag, Cousin Kev.
Cousin Kev. That's probably will be the hashtag for the podcast, Cousin Kev. Listen.
Cousin Kev.
Listen.
Like it.
I think that's a great note. Listen, I think we're gonna take a quick little break on this one. And I think it's definitely we're gonna take a quick break and move on to the next one. You'll listen to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Michael from Abu Dhabi. Listen to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio.
Welcome back to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We thank you for listening. Remember, family, you can call us at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. What's good, family? Welcome back to Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio. Now, family, again, on this episode, we are discussing the family you're born in versus the family you create. And for easier terms, we're using acronyms, family of origin, FOO, and family by choice, FBC. On this segment, we're discussing family by choice. The last segment, we discussed family of origin. And I definitely suggest everyone go back and take a listen to that if you didn't hear it, because Ty drops some knowledge on that one. Ty does his thing as usual. You know, I really appreciate his in-depth look about families and the family we create and the family we're born in. So, family, I definitely think you should go back and take a look at that. Sister T was talking about how the family you're born in, you know, there's some people that you don't really, really bang with too heavy. And, we gave them a name, we gave him a name. We called him Cousin Kev. For the podcast family, Cousin Kev is that, that family member that you don't bang with. But moving right along, on this particular segment, family, we're going to talk about family by choice, FBC. I wanted to start off saying family by choice is something that's the freedom we have. That's the freedom. Family of origin, we don't really got no freedom. We don't have any freedom in that. Family by choice, we have a lot of freedom in. And I want to kind of just talk about how I even use the word family. Because we talk about family by choice, like I consider T and Ty my family. They're not people that are just friends. They're not just, these are family. These are people that I'm in the trenches with. I talk to about my darkest moments, my hard moments that really push me to continue what I'm doing in my dreams, my passions, and my inspirations. And I hope I do the same for them, because that's what I feel like the definition of family is. I know for a fact they care about me. I don't have to think about whether they care about me. I don't have to think about whether it's all alternative motives and nothing like that. Like family by choice, definitely these two family are the ones that definitely I can say put a superstar for me, that they're my family by choice. I use the word family. I use it a lot because I talk to people who love me the way that I feel like I love them. Family by choice is something that I take wholeheartedly because I had such bad experiences with family by origin. So the family that I choose to create that have a very big star in my life, the very big influence, shall I say. I've had the blessing to be able to choose my family, to be able to choose my wife. I don't get to choose my kids, of course, but I get to choose my wife. And I get to choose, who I spend my time with, who I give my energy to, who I devote my energy to, who I give my spirit to. Because anytime even you talk to somebody, anytime you intermingle with somebody, your spirit's intertwined. So, you got to think about that. But I mean, all that is important because your family by choice is what goes on for the rest of your life. Your family that you're born in, you can have a cutoff with that, really. Because your family you're born in, you can just be like, you know what? I'm not dealing with them. I could care less. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm not dealing with the cancer. The doctor said it'd be best if they stay out of my life. So, that's something that I always say. family by choice is something, that's where your harmony comes in. That's when your inspiration comes in. That's when the people who believe in you, you know, not that sometimes your family of origin don't believe in you. Family you create, those are the ones that believe in you. The ones that really believe in you genuinely, like, yo, Jimmy, bro, I see you. I want you to go do it, man. I know you might have been sick for a little bit, but I know, yo, bro, I'm gonna keep pushing you. I'm gonna tell you our story, all right? Family by choice. Let me tell you a story. There was a time in my life that it was really tough for me. I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't going nowhere. I was just going in circles. And it was super frustrating, super frustrating. I kept getting these text messages from somebody. I kept getting them, like I would get them maybe about every month and a half, every 2 months. And it was the only inspiration I had at that moment. And that person was Ty. Ty would send me regularly, he would send me text messages about my music being played on Illadelphia radio. Regular. To this day, that's what sparked me. That's what kept me going. That's what your family by choice, that's what they do for you. That's my opinion. That's my belief. I'm telling you just from experience, like, your family by choice, that's your trajectory. Those are the ones that project you to where you're supposed to be, your purpose. Those are the ones that tell you that you have these talents. Those are the ones that tell you to believe in yourself. That's my opinion about family by choice. I know I done gone on for a minute. You know, that's the way I feel about it. Family, how you feel, Ty? What you feeling, man?
I feel like your FOC is like your creation. You can create, you can mold it, you can shape it, you can direct it. There's so many things you can do with it that you can't do with the family that you was born into. It's just
right.
totally different. Whereas now you can set different standards and goals to meet whatever goals you may have, planned. I think that's one of the good things about it. Also, I don't want to say freedom, but I guess the free will to do. When you're born and up until a certain point, you don't have that free will to just do what you want. There's some rules and regulations, policies and procedures, and there can be some sanctions.
And you got to get approval.
Yeah, you got to get approval, right? Whereas now, you can set up those rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and if you have to, incite some sanctions as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You about to do what? I don't think so. You know what I mean? For real. I think it's more of that free will that you can just do.
Yes.
And then you can see the growth. You can see the prosperity of it. It's not all of it's not going to be good, but
yeah,
you work your way through it. With the family that you're creating, you work your way through it.
Yeah.
For those that have children, they see the development. Like, wow, from a 2-year-old, now they're 12 or 14, you see the development and you start to see your attitude come through the child, or your mental, or the things that you do, you start to see it in that child as they grow up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see it in siblings too, like other siblings.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll look at my brother and be like, yo, I twist my mouth like that too, man.
Yeah.
It's the little things. But with the family you create, that's the good thing about it, is you have the opportunity to create it. And there's no timeline either. You can take your time building. That's the good thing about it.
It's the truth. I definitely feel you with everything you were saying. I feel like the family you create, when you reach, if you ever face challenges, you'll be willing to work through those challenges with the family you create.
Right.
And like the family you're born in, you be like, forget that. I ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, you can do it.
Tell Kev, go take a seat. The family that your family, you're gonna be willing to do. You're gonna like, yo, but we got issues. Let's figure this out. All right. You know what I'm saying? Look, I apologize. My fault. I didn't mean to offend you. You know what I mean? Or I didn't mean to leave you out there like that. So, like, no, you'll be willing to work out. You'll be willing to work at it. See, how do you feel about the family by choice?
I mean, I agree with both of you. I also think that the family you choose also, I feel like sometimes like you see yourself, like small things of yourself in them, but then you don't see stuff in yourself, and you're working on, okay, so maybe I should change on that, or okay, like you guys can relate more. The family that you're born into, I mean, they're gonna be crazy anyway, but like you guys can like bounce off each other. You got like you're feeding off each other.
Exactly.
At least with the family I created, like my friends and all that, we feed off each other. We're always positive, feed off each other. If somebody's negative, let them figure that out. I'll try to help you through it. Then come back to positivity.
Yeah.
Like good vibes. Good vibes.
Good
and
vibes.
the one thing, like you said, the family that you're born into, not always good vibes. So you kind of got to deal with it, but I don't deal with it. But you guys like kind of deal with it. But like you just can talk it out with the family that you choose. You see, like I said, you see the potential.
Yeah.
In each other.
Yeah. Definitely.
And that's what I enjoy about it.
Definitely.
And like Ty said, you have more freedom. Like who cares? Like I mean, I don't know. You have a little bit more freedom because, like you said, who did what? In the family. But like with your friends, they know your flaws. They know you a little crazy. They know this. They know you and I. Like it's normal.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of thing. But you all understand each other because there's a little bit that's just like you.
It's true.
You already know. Now, if you can't act like, excuse my language, but if you can't act the DAM fool in front of your friends and your family choose, then they ain't your friends or your family choose.
It's the truth. That's the truth. If you can't be yourself in front of your family you create, then you ain't they ain't your family.
You need to go find Cousin Kev.
Yeah, you need to go find Cousin Kev. Listen. Hey, look, I was even thinking about it to this level. There's sometimes where you have, the family you create, there's some people that you have that you create in your family that end up having to be in the FOO, the family of origin. You have to put them in the family of origin. Like, you know what? And I say negative positive. I say that in this terms. There's some people that I have created within my family that will never ever be looked at as anything else but family. Okay? Period. Now there's some people that I have created in my family that they'll have to go into the Cousin Kev stash. You know what I mean? Because that's just that's just what it is. And listen, it goes both hands. So there's some things that you gotta take that, this isn't a blanket kind of thing. It's not like, hey, the family you create is just awesome. It's just better than the family of origin. It just is. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. Like, we're saying that, good friendships and good relationships and good respect and reciprocating respect between each other, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's family. I'm not
like also with the ones you create, like you can, not saying you can't you can't get rid of your family unless you're born in jail. You're just, that was the cards you were dealt. But the family create, if somebody's not acting right, hey, bye, Cousin Kev. Like, you don't gotta deal with them. Just move on. Right. People in your family, I'll see you at the next cookout. Bye. Like, then you will never see them. And if you do, hi, bye, keep it pushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a positive and negative outcome of it.
Another point on family creation, right? When my grandmother passed away, before she passed away, she had a best friend who lived directly across the street from us. Her name was Miss Dolores Hall, right? Her and my grandmother were best friends. So when my grandmother passed away, she just said, well, look, I'm your grandmother now. Y'all my grandkids. I'm going to take care and look at y'all as if y'all my grandkids. So that's kind of like a family creation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really explain it because it just came to me, but that's kind of like another type of family creation as well. She just took us in like, well, y'all going to be my grandkids now because that was my best friend. Yeah. And I'm going to continue doing what she did. So, and she took us in. If someone needed a place to stay, something to eat, she looked out for the family as if we were her grandkids.
Yeah, man.
You know? Yeah, man. As I just had to point her out because we call her grandma. I still call her Miss Dolores. Sometimes I call her grandma, but Dolores Hall, she took us in as grandchildren and helped us out whenever we needed.
Listen,
and her family are like, it's a bond, They love us, we love them. Although we're not like together a lot like that, but they took us in as family. We took them in as family too.
Yeah. Yo, man, listen, I want to say a shout out to all the, to Grandma Dolores out there. There are a lot of grandmas out there, a lot of people out there, should I say, not just grandmas, but grandfathers and uncles and aunts too, that, they might not be your family of origin, but they might have been your grandparents or your aunties or your mom's best friend. You know what I mean? They might have been your blood relative, but for a fact this is your family. Shout out to them because it goes really without saying, they don't get, there are people like out there that don't get that kind of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That is a very honorable, thankless thing to do for the people out there that's doing it. Listen, I love you for doing it, because there are people out there that don't have family, don't have a grandmother or a mother, that need a mom. And she's like, look, come on, I got you. You know what I mean? I got you. Listen, I can tell you about family that I have that, that are British, that I consider my mom and my pop. You know what I mean? Not because of the fact of that they're my blood relatives, but shoot, they raised me from when I was like 14 years old. So, you take that in, you say, look, mom, that's my mom. Forever, she's gonna be my mom, no matter what. Forever, And my best friend, that's my brother. And his sister, that's my sister. Like, this, it never changes. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, Ty, like, I have to definitely give a special shout out to all those people out there that open their hearts up, open their doors, open their purse, their bodies, everything, to be those people in other people's life, So I really want to send that shout out to you. So, I mean, everybody always says, that the family you create, the family by choice is, it's better. Ty, you're right. It is freedom. It is the ability to choose. It is the ability to say who you get, who it is. Because but even saying that, there's some cultures where you don't get to choose. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to choose the family you create. I have to say,
they're arranged.
But I have to say, like, they're arranged, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, like, the fact that there are the freedom of having that choice, you cannot take that for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot take that freedom for granted. So, that's all I got to say on this, for that particular subject. You know what I mean? But, oh yeah, Ty, you really, man, you always do something.
There's also, though, you also have families that, I don't want to say stay together, but they don't go outside of family. You know what I mean? They just stay within family.
Yeah.
Basically, they don't want to wander out. They're like,
you have people that stick. There's some families that live in compounds. You know what I mean? They have enough land, and they just it's just them. It's nobody else. I mean, there's some places in some towns in America where it's like, particularly one county might be one family. There are different dynamics with this whole thing. It's not just one basic thing. You know what I mean? Even family of origin is not a basic thing. So, and as we talked about in this segment, like, every time a child is born, another family is created. So it's like, this thing is a cycle. This thing is a continuous thing. And we're all, in a sense, wrapped in it somehow, some way. We're all walking around a part of something, a part of some family, a part
that's
of...
bigger.
Right, that's bigger, exactly. So, in all honesty, like, we all represent something that we come from. How they always have families that are just like, oh, you know how the Smiths are, or you know how the Russells are, or you know how the Millers are. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always that. You know what I mean? So I say we're born into that, and I think the family we create allows us to break those things for those stereotypes that come along with our family. You know what I mean? So I got places up in Michigan that I can't visit, right? Because my last name, well, the cops will point at me because of my last name. I haven't been there, but because this is my family last name, that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Listen, you don't get to choose the family you're born in. You don't get to choose your last name, but you can always be able to choose, where you're going. So who you hanging out with.
Right.
So, fam, on that segment, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you for listening on this one. You'll listen to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Michael from Abu Dhabi. Listen to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio.
Welcome back to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We thank you for listening. Remember, family, you can call us at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. And welcome back to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. Now, family, again, on this segment, in this show, this episode, we were talking about the family you're born in versus the family you create. And again, for acronym reasons and for shortening, we were calling it FOO versus FBC, the family of origin versus the family by choice. We have covered a lot of different elements of it, a lot of different dynamics of it. Shout out to Cousin Kev on this segment, I wanted to talk about, what we might feel individually, what we might feel is better, the family of origin or the family by choice. I wanted to kind of just open the floor for the team to give them kind of like, their opinion on it, what they thought about it. So T, what do you think? What do you think is best for you as an individual? What do you think your best way of operating in your life is? Family of origin or family by choice?
I would say both, kind of, because in like the family of origin, I choose who I want to deal with. But then the family of choice, I want to, same thing. I choose who I want to deal with. I choose who I don't do. They're the Cub and Kev way, and both of them, both the Cub and Kevs and both of the situations, they're the way. You just choose whatever you want to let positivity in your life or negativity. I go out along with a lot of vibes. So just like good vibes into it. So I feel both, because there might be some people that you're born into the family that have really, really good vibes. And then you just go out and find people with good vibes that match your vibe. And then you guys become family. So I personally just go off of vibes and things like that. And I can learn from them and they can learn from me. It's like you said, relationships. That's how they're built. You teach one another. And then also, I don't know. I just really go off vibes personally for me. Just good times, good people. Good people bring good people.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Good people bring good people.
At least that's the way I see it. I agree with that, T. I definitely do. Ty, how you feel, Ty? What do you think? Is it family of origin or family by choice for you?
I mean, it's like T said, it's like both. Let me tell y'all something. So I was probably like 11, 12 years old, right? So this when cigarettes cost $1. A pack of cigarettes cost $1. That's how old I am, right? Yeah. Pack of cigarettes cost $1 at this time, right? So my mom sent me to the store to get her a pack of cigarettes. She said, Tyrone. So I come running down the steps. I said, yeah, go to the store, give me some cigarettes. I said, all right. Why my mom give me 100 pennies? So I'm walking to the store. Yeah, right? So I'm walking to the store. I'm about 10, 11, so I'm only but so big. I got like 50 cents in one pocket, 50 cents in another pocket. You hear the change, the ching-ling, ching-ling, ching-ling. I'm going to the store. I get to the store. Guy said, what can I get for you? And they gave you cigarettes back then, too. As a kid, you was able to buy so I said, I need a pack of Selim Lights. He said, $1. I started digging my pocket, dumping all this change. She's like, get the hell out of my store. What's wrong with you, boy? I said, $1. Like, I'm thinking about, like, why you do this to me? Like, I look back on it to this day, and I'll mess with it now about, like, remember that time you sent me to the store with 100 pennies? She didn't start laughing at me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But that's the thing with families you can create. You know what I mean? Like, you can have the kids do crazy things. You know what I mean? Because I do it with my son. Like, I was like,
that's funny.
It's a good thing. You know what I mean? So it's like both. Like the family of origin and the family you create. You have your good and your bad in there. You have your stories. Some are crazy, but I don't really think. I mean, you go through struggles with the family you create too.
Yeah.
And you have your struggles with your family of origin as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I think both of them, I wouldn't say balance out, but I have my good and bad in both families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's
like a good and bad, and you can like relate to the two. Like you can like revert back to the past and see things that happened or took place, and try to correct it within the family you created if you see it coming about, where you can take preventive measures.
Very true. Very true.
That's the good thing about that, where you can always reflect back to the family of origins, like, you know what? My sister always do that dumb stuff, you know what I mean? You got your family now, and you can see something about to happen, and you know how to put a stop to it or try to prevent something from happening,
Definitely.
So I would say it's both of them. They both have their ups and downs, goods and bads. Love is in both of them.
Yeah.
Care. You also inherited a cousin Kev too, when you create a family. Because it might be a cousin Kev on that side of the family too, you know what I mean? And then you got to deal with your cousin Kev, and you got two cousin Kevs coming to the party.
It ain't good. It's not good.
That makes the party end an hour early.
It ain't good if both cousin Kevs come to the party. It's gonna be problems. You gotta keep them away from each other. You go to that corner. You go to that corner.
Oh, Lord,
listen, Ty, the way I feel about it, man, I think as everything in life with me, I think it's balance.
Yes.
I think balance is key. I think balance is the one thing that that we as individuals have to always try to maintain in some kind of way. Too much of something is not good all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's times where you could be like, your family you create, you could be like, yo, I love my family I create, but you still miss the family you're born in. You know what I mean? And that's just that's what I mean by balance. It's having a balance to understand that, we're all individuals. We all come from some place. Even when we create a family, or when we choose a family, there are things that that are still foundationally in us. And I think that the balance of that, like you said, taking the good with the bad, and taking the things that you want to change, that you saw that you could change from the family that you were born in. I mean, I think taking all those things and creating that balance, it will always make you not just a better individual, but more well-rounded within your family. Because what I think about it is, it can be a lot of times it could be one family member in a family that dominates everything. And I mean, that could be in friendships. You can have 4 friends, right? And one friend could be dominating through personality, through time, through trauma, through anything. I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just mean that's just reality. Sometimes you can have that, and you can have it also in your family of origin. You can have a family of 4, and one family member just be more of an issue than anybody else. I think that it's important that we have the balance as individuals, so that as a collective family, everybody has their needs met. That's what I mean by the balance of it all. Family is something that, it's a sore spot for some people. In all honesty, it shouldn't be. Our family is not all we have, but it's the people that represent who we are. My daughter is the one I wake up in the morning to, and she inspires me to say, Daddy, you want to go do the podcast today? Or when I think about my mom, when she called me on the first time she heard the podcast, like she told me, hey, I'm so proud of you. You're doing what I thought you should have been doing. You know what I mean? The balance of that, that you got to be able to balance that and understand, like, yo, as a representative, as a collective, my job is to make sure that I represent my family to the fullest and to the best and the most positive manner, period. At least as a man, that's the way I feel. I might, women might feel different, but as a man, that's the way I feel. I feel like, it's one of them things that it's a charge I take. I tell it all the time, you got to take a charge. Now, I mean, take a charge like as going to jail. I mean, it's a charge of, this is something you have to take on. You know what I mean? This is your responsibility. I always feel like we got to take it seriously, because in the end, it represents us. And your representation is really all you have. Really all you have.
Yeah.
What people remember about you, what they remember about your family, and how your family, that's all you have. That's your word. That's your bond. No pun intended. You know what I mean?
I get it. It's a little slow.
But that's your family is important, man. And this is what I pray, Todd. This is what I pray. T too. Family has been. It could be your make. It could be your break. Your family can tell you that you are the best at something, and you can be straight crap at it, right? Your family can also tell you that you are the worst at something, but you actually might be the best at it. I say that to say that, yo, make sure that you keep the right people in your life, the right family members, the right people you call family, because that word, do not take it lightly. It is a word of meaning. It does mean something. And what it means to you, make sure whoever you have in your surroundings values that word, values what you mean, what it means to you. For me, I want everybody just to remember, like, we are all in this together. I could go somewhere tomorrow and meet another family member. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is how our life goes, and we're all in this together, and we all got to find a way to coexist. As I say with everything, I was going to go into a thing about, I found a webpage that said 6 reasons why having the family you create is better than the family of origin, but I can't go into that because I don't think that's the truth. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the truth. I mean, the family, it's really you have both for a reason. You know what I mean? You have both for a reason. I know there are people that come from families that are not happy with the family that they come from. I know that. The reason that they have another family is because they want to be respected and loved, not like they were before. I mean, that's really what I'm saying, y'all. Like, just try to love each other different. Try to use that word family as something it means to you. And, end of the day, I just hope that we get better at this. We get better at family. We get better at loving each other. We get better caring for each other. We don't follow some of the stories that's in the Bible. Because you read the Bible, you hear about family, you would be like, yo, what is this? What is this, man? So
it all goes back to the Bible.
Listen, that's what that's what they say. All the roots. That's where it starts. I mean, some of the stories about family in the Bible will turn you completely left about family. You know what I mean? But it's all about what you make of it, y'all. It's all about how you feel about it. It's all about how you love and who you love. Mm-hmm. I pray that this helps somebody out there. This helps somebody out there going through a family issue. They can laugh and chuckle about it. I pray that we can love our cousin Cavs through their issues. You know what I'm saying? We can love them through it. We ain't gotta not just exclude them. But you can love them from a distance. You ain't gotta love them up close. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? But
love them every holiday.
Listen, love them every holiday. I feel like that's the best way to get through this healing family is love. So, I mean, that's all I got to say. Ty, what you got to say, bro? I mean, that's all I got to say about the subject.
I missed the point earlier that family that's created within a community. I know when I was growing, it's totally different now than what it was in 1970. The block that I live on was kind of like a family. Sister Ethel down the street, Miss Jenkins over there, Mr. Parker, Mr. Dewdrop, the drunk on the corner. Everybody knew each other and looked out for each other. As kids, if we was doing something wrong up the street or around the corner and a neighbor saw it, first thing they said, well, I'm going to tell your mother, Tyrone, you better get from such and such and get back around in the block, something like that. The community looked out for each other.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a family. That's how my grandmother and her best friend, Miss Dolores, got so tight because she looked out for her kids. She looked out for her kids. And, the other neighbors looked out for, everybody looked out for each other's kids.
Isn't that saying it takes a village?
Yes. It used to be like that, yes, but it's not like that now.
No.
But from a family perspective, you knew everybody on the block. Nobody really disrespected nobody. I can't think of nobody being disrespected by another neighbor on the block when I was growing up. There never was that. Everybody spoke to each other because if you did something wrong, best believe they're going to go tell your mother, your father what you did. And then you just knew, it was that respect, that community, family respect that I grew up in that I no longer see. I think if we can, that's kind of hard to do, but that community family thing, that's a nice thing too, when you can just go outside and don't have to worry about your neighbors. Everybody knows each other, speak to each other.
Yeah, man.
That's gone. I don't see that no more. And that's like that community family that I wanted to speak on before, but, kind of slipped past me.
No, that's real, man.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's real, man. I mean, that community family is key. I mean, that's key. That's how we keep our community safe. You know what I mean? That's how we look after each other's kids. That's how we make sure no kids get hit by cars and the cars don't be running down the blocks all crazy. You know what I mean? Like that's how we, like I said, keep the community safe. So bro, like community family is absolutely key, absolutely necessary. And particularly within, I'm born and raised in DC, so it's a little bit different than what it is in like PA. In PA, the family's it's a little bit different. The families have been in the houses for generations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's a little bit different. And then what happens is families pass away. No one comes to stay in that house anymore. The house stays or whatever. But that's something I've noticed, particularly within Philly, is that back in the day, the family community was absolutely not just necessary, but something that was there that people remembered wholeheartedly. Like you talking about it, you know what I mean? It was definitely. I mean, my wife talks about it all the time about growing up, what it was like growing up on 52nd Street, the community aspect of it, how she knew all the vendors, how she knew the people across the street, 4 doors down on the other side of the block. How her auntie Clovis would come over and bathe her when she was a baby. Community family is absolutely necessary. Absolutely. T, how you feel, T?
I agree with you what you guys are saying. I agree with the takes a village part too. It's not like that anymore whatsoever. The funny, when you were doing that, I was thinking of a story and I was cracking up. I'll tell you guys later.
We'll get it offline.
No, I remember my parents sent me out to get something down the street. Before I got home, the cashier called my mom and said, what did you send Tiana down here for? She said, first, I forget, I had to go get a vegetable. And I came back with some chicken noodle soup. And the cashier said, well, you're going about to show up to the house with chicken noodle soup because she was out here singing that song. So I knew something wrong. And my mom sent me right back, and the cashier said, here are your vegetables. Go back home and eat your dinner. that's funny because how tight everybody knew each other.
Yo.
And my parents were like, that's Tiana again, but whatever.
Chicken noodle soup story.
I know that. Listen.
And every
noodle
time
soup
we
story.
get together, my mom would be like, don't send Tiana to the store. And I'm like, oh, here, that's literally, that happened when I was like 10. And you guys are still talking about it. Like, it's not that serious. But like Ty was saying, it was like that. Like, now I don't know my cashiers. I don't know anybody. But that one cashier, she knew my parents' number. And she's like, I knew something was up when she left out here with that chicken noodle soup.
Listen, it's true,
But I do agree with you guys are saying, like the balance and things like that for your family that you create and your family that you're born into. Yeah. It all makes sense. And like you said, you need that balance because there are some good parts and there are some bad parts.
Yeah.
You just got to find out how to balance your life out and don't buy chicken noodle soup.
Yeah. Chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup with a soda on the side.
That song.
Chicken noodle soup.
And I knew something was off, but I was gonna let her go.
And I can see you too. You say you were about 10 years old. I can see you at 10 years old.
10 years old.
Walking to the store. I mean that song was hot too. That was one of those songs all little girls were singing. All of us, right?
I got it. But it was so funny. I didn't get in trouble. They're like, here you go again.
That's so dope, man.
That cashier, she's hilarious. Oh, she was hilarious.
That's dope.
Oh,
well, family, on that note, I am so glad, that we went on and covered this subject, something I always want to talk about. I definitely think it's something we're going to bring other people in on. We're going to do another podcast on it. We'll definitely talk about it, again, because I like to go back and open these conversations again and bring more people into it because, we always about opening dialogue. On that note, family, I want to thank y'all for listening. To the next episode, you can find me on Good Hope Road, screaming, stay up, don't sleep in your dreams. I'm Jimmy Bonds, and I'm out. Fam, that's going to wrap the show. We want to thank you for listening to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We ask you to leave your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. Now remember, family, we are still in the COVID-19 pandemic, so please, please, please remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, and practice social distancing. Also, remember to take nothing for granted and value every opportunity you have with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. For in these times, every moment is sacred. So until the next episode, you can find me on Good Hope Road, screaming, stay up, don't sleep in your dreams. I'm Jimmy Bonds, and I'm out. Fight on, come on.